and I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like.
And now, award of the week. And this one I actually got like fairly early because I think I saw it right after we recorded last week's episode. I'm gonna give it to former Marvel writer Don MacGregor for writing Black Panther versus the KKK, which is very significant because as you can see here, he has cover of a cover with Black Panther just beating up the KKK, which is like cool in of itself. They had to change it to clan with a C instead of a K for obvious reasons. The reason he did that is because the editors, and the people in charge of Marvel at the time always wondered about Black Panther. Why aren't there any white people? And he said, and his response was, it's Wakanda. It's a secret African nation that's technologically advanced. So therefore they, white people A weren't there and B weren't necessary. So their fear was that not enough white people would pick up the Black Panther book. So they basically made a mandate that he had to include white people in Black Panther's comic book series. So taking that mandate, what he did was he said, all right, let's have this storyline where the Ku Klux Klan invades Wakanda and Black Panther beats the shit out of them, and he comes out the hero to much to their chagrin, but it actually like became one of the best selling like Marvel issues at a time when Marvel was basically like in financial flux. So I wanted to give that award to Don MacGregor for basically standing by his beliefs, and he was eventually fired. And he really felt bad because he was so attached to the character of Black Panther, and it speaks volumes to allyship because he could have simply been like, all right, this black character, all right, I'm gonna give him like a white person that's better than him, and that's gonna help push Black Panther. And he said, no, like this is my character. There needs to be somebody for African American kids who are comic book fans to look up to, and he accomplished that by, you know, essentially doing what he was told, but not in the way that he was told. So I always thought that was cool.
I know exactly what you're talking about. My brother has that. That's great though. I didn't know you were gonna bring that up. I actually know I've read the comic before.
Okay. And then honorable mention this week goes out to something I woke up to, which was Paul Scheer. If anybody's familiar with him, listeners are familiar with him. If you watch the show The League, he was a cast member on that show. I love that show, so I totally knew who he was. But Shannon Sharpe, I saw him kind of having like a back and forth about having a back and forth, and usually it's a lot of like racist trolls, like right wing people that interact with him, and he puts them in his place. And all of those times, like Shannon Sharpe totally agree with him. Other times he says like some outrageous sports takes, and obviously and interacts with people who disagree with him. And this was one of those times. And I guess what he was talking about was a dynamic between the Lakers and the Clippers as far as LA, which is interesting because we talked about the Nets. This idea where Cassidy Hubert asked Fat Joe if like he thought like the Nets, if it was possible that the Nets could take over the New York media market. So Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed with Skip Bayless and him said it's a Lakers and a Dodgers town. I ain't see nobody say I'm a Clipper fan, not one except Clipper Darrell and Marcellus Wiley. And Skip Bayless replied, "You're afraid of what the Clippers are." Shannon Sharpe laughed that off by saying, "What are they?" And then a woman responded to him and said, basically defended the Clippers fans that are in LA. And Shannon responded, Clippers fans are only family members and friends of family members of Clipper fans. Nice try though. And Paul Scheer said to that response, it took you 2 hours to come up with that. And Shannon said, well, we know Paul Scheer, he has like a gap tooth. He has like a gap tooth smile. So he said that's still less time than it would take a dentist to close that gap between your teeth, by the way. And Paul Scheer said, with comebacks like that, I get why your girlfriend picked Marlon Bird. So I didn't understand where I was coming from, but then I looked it up, and I guess like Shannon Sharpe's ex-girlfriend left him and later married former MLB player Marlon Bird, who was, like a MLB outfielder, had a couple great, a couple good, like, 30 home run seasons, but nothing to like write home about. But she eventually married him, and like they had children and stuff like that. So it was just like a real like sick burn, and it was so like sick that like if you didn't know, you had to go and look it up, and that's what I did. So that's who is getting the award of the week and the honorable mention this week.